Hello and welcome to episode 2, everyone. I'm Jodie Fielden and I'm joined by my work wife, bestie and business partner, Adri Varga. During these podcasts, we share with you how you can turn challenges into opportunities, overcome obstacles, and discover practical strategies to create your success.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. And we hope you enjoyed our last episode just as much as we enjoyed recording it. And today, as we promised, we are going to talk about image versus fundamentals in business success.
That's right. We're going to have a look at the difference between being image focused and foundations focused, and at some of the problems that arise if you don't have the formula in the right order.
Yeah, so let's start with what happens when a salon or studio owner puts their first focus on their business image and building brand awareness. Isn't it like it's so interesting because as we mentioned before, like we are working with many business owners, and what we noticed, like people are, or many business owners, they are focusing on the image what they want to create for their business, and this is where they put the first big effort into like building a salon or a studio, making it to look good, and everything, all the effort goes into branding and making it like looking really nice. And then at one point they actually stop because they don't know like what else can be done in order to grow their business.
Yeah, look, I think the thing that people get caught up with when they're first opening their salon or studio, or they take it over or they've purchased it, is that they get really excited about making it look good. You know, they want to put their own stamp on it. They want to make it theirs. They want it to reflect everything about who they are. And all these are great things. It's just not necessarily the right time to be focusing on how you look to everyone else if there's things in the background that maybe need the attention before, you know, how we've got our skirt on over the top, you know?
Yeah, and then when we are starting our businesses, like the thing is, we are keeping eye on those businesses who are really successful, who are already looking good. They are already on the market, for 5 years, 10 years, and then this is where we want to level up straight away. And many times happens, like we invest in far, far more money what we have available, and we put ourselves into debt, or like we only can open our business like when we borrow money from somewhere, and then we create this image, like what we want everyone to see, and then suddenly like we sit down, 3 months on, 6 months on, a year on, and somehow things at the back end doesn't work.
A lot of the times when business owners first come to us, they've been in business for, 2 or 3 years, and they've spent all this money into marketing their business, branding, maybe having a social media person, um, you know, uh, making sure that all their signage is all new and up to date, and building websites and all these things, but they haven't invested any money into actually learning how to run their business and what it is that it's going to take to make the business profitable before they start putting the money into making it looking good.
Yeah, and I think it's almost like the mentality when like we are trying to keeping up with the Joneses, and
Hmm.
it's just ends up being extremely difficult because all those money, like what they are spending, and they are spending substantial money, like in starting that business or running that business, but they putting the money into the wrong part of the business first. And I think this is when it's going to come back, like we could share today, or what we would like to share today is basically the 7 layers which really makes a business grow and be successful in long term. I think that would be something what we could give you, as a food for thought today. Like we all went through about the image, and we just want we just want more clients, so we're focusing on marketing and everything else. But today, what we will do, we will share with you the 7 layers which are going to make your business profitable and successful.
I think we'll start with the first layer that is probably one of the most important layers, and that is going to be what you can measure, you can manage. So, do you want to explain a little bit about that concept and what that actually means in a business?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So when it comes to running our business, it's basically business is all about numbers. And as much as we don't like to hear this because we are such creative people, like Pilates studio owners, salon owners, but when it comes to business, business is basically based on numbers, based on structure, based on strategy, and like we are not different from any corporations. Yeah, so the only difference between small businesses and corporations that they do really well all the fundamentals. So the big corporations, they are really good with their fundamentals. They measure absolutely everything. And once they measure things, then they can manage things. So what I mean for a small business level, it's basically we need to know how much is costing for us to running our business, how much we are bringing into the business, and based on those two KPI, what we are keeping eye on weekly, we are going to be able to price our services strategically, which is very important because pricing is a really, really big thing, like how we're going to get our pricing right. And when it comes to all the numbers, these are the main numbers which are very, very important in our business, and those are going to help with us, for us when we're going to manage our team, when we're going to figure it out, like how we're going to motivate our team, how we're going to put targets, and also like how we're going to communicate our expectations towards the teams.
Yeah, look, it's the numbers are really important because if you don't have your numbers right, the doors don't stay open. And this is where people come unstuck saying, I don't have any money to invest into my business now because they haven't had their numbers right from the very beginning. They have their numbers right from the very beginning, then you can't go wrong because
Yeah.
that is the biggest foundation of it all. And coming from an asset management background, I can tell you those the corporations do have all their numbers right and they do measure everything. The only difference that should be between them and us is the number of zeros on the end. We'd like to have as many
Yeah.
zeros as they have, but the foundations and the fundamentals of it remains the same. And yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're not making money, then you can't have your business isn't going to be there for the long term.
And it's many times, like we are running our businesses and then we don't measure anything. So just one of the example, when I took over the salon from you, the only way I measured my success, I had a calendar, and every day when we closed the till, I actually did put down how much money we made. And then at the end of the week, I, add that together and then I had the weekly total. And that was only what I measured, like that made me happy because, like we made really good money, but like I did not measure anything else for a while in my business, and that was a really big problem because once I started to measure, this is when I had the control because then I knew everything was going on in what was going on in my business. Also, I knew like which team member was performing well, which one needed some help, at what area I needed to provide some training and further help for my team members. So it's actually something which is really a very important layer to getting our business right.
Yeah, and if you're not measuring the numbers, then you don't know where you're losing either.
Yeah.
You don't know where the money is running out the door.
Mm.
And you know, when I always had my, break even budget. I always knew how much I had to make each week and I always knew how much I was making each week and daily. But what I didn't do was have that specific number of it was the number I thought I needed to be making each week. So I thought that I was really, being clever because I'm banging my microphone. Um, but I didn't take the time to actually go through it properly. And a lot of the time, that's a big mistake.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's move on to the
All
next
right.
one.
The next one, let's look at something that everyone always says to us um, is finding time and making time.
Yeah, so that can be very, very difficult because normally, like when we feel overwhelmed, overworked, and tired. And then we need to find time to turn things around. This is when it becomes really, really difficult. And time management is extremely important. And also understanding that, like you cannot be five different people in one person for your business. And this is when it comes to, like if you are overwhelmed with tasks, which we are, then we really need to monitor what we are doing and who can we delegate some task to. And this is when it comes, like for um, like people like I used to be, like who used to be a perfectionist, like it's actually very, very challenging for us to let any task go. Doesn't really matter how overwhelmed we feel, but we feel it's quicker for us to do it than to take the time to explain it. And what we don't realize is basically that we are taking our own freedom away because we become everything in our business. And if we would just step back and say, you know what, I'm a perfectionist, so I can create perfect systems. So I will create these systems. I will put a little bit of a time to, train my team members, choose the right team members to do certain tasks, or employ people to do certain tasks. And then once it's done, then it's freedom for me because then I get my time back and then I can focus on things which are really, really moving the business, which are really growing the business because many of the tasks what we are doing, they are little tasks what anyone can do really in the business. But we are just taking on everything because either we are not patient, and I think leadership comes with patience. So patience is very, very important. So once you are not patient, or once we are not patient, like that's working against us again because like we just say, oh, like I just do it quickly and then I don't need to worry about it. Yeah, but we don't need to worry about it until next time, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, the next one that we look at that sort of follows from that that you touched on is systems and
Yes.
why they. Yeah.
Yeah, so systems are your friends. This is what Jodie wrote here to the screen, and it's really, really true. Um, if you want your business, your studio, or your salon to work right, and you want to create freedom again for yourself, then then you need to create systems. And as much as is boring and sounds really, really time consuming, and it is, but like once you put the time in and you create those systems, then you create freedom for yourself. And the fun way to create systems, you don't need to do it alone. I always say, like we create systems together with our team. We involve our team in creating most of the things in our business, in our studio and in our salon, because like if we create systems together, then they will feel involved, and also they will feel they own the system. And systems doesn't need to be very, very difficult. Systems can be, like just a sentence. I remember, like when I took over the salon from you, like when we used the dryer to dry the towels, like many times some of the team members, they didn't empty, that little filter, and you have to empty the filter, like so many times I actually kept repeating for my team members, they have to do it. So the system what I created, I just written, like one sentence before every load, can you empty the filter, and I just stuck it to the front of the dryer, and that was our system. And you know what, it worked because it just reminded everyone what they had to do because they had to open the door.
It ends up coming into sort of leadership with your team, and
Yes.
that brings it to this one.
Yeah, so bosses versus leader, isn't it? Like we touched this, I think, a little bit before. Basically, like 10, 15 years ago, boss mentality was a mentality which was working really well. And these days, like employees, they are looking for leaders. And we are moving towards to leadership. This is something what is needs to be learned. Very, very rarely happens. Like people are naturally good leaders, and like the high expectations really from ourselves, like when we start to employ team members. Like sometimes we are confused and we don't know how to manage them or how to talk to them or what to do with them, how to motivate them. And like the really big difference between bosses and leaders, bosses are telling you what to do and they don't really care about any input. They just want things to be done their way. And leaders are actually leading and involving. And these days, like leadership works far, far better than the boss mentality. Like people want to be involved, people want to belong to a culture, they want to belong to an environment. And when it comes to, like who wins these days, we can definitely see, even if we just look into, like Facebook groups and, team members, staff members, they are talking about, um business owners, studio owners, salon owners, is definitely someone with a boss mentality. They don't really get too far these days. And the other thing is, like your staff, your team members, they are very, very different now. And they are looking for also very different for themselves. So they don't just want to go to work, and being told what to do. They actually open for, being mentored or, led to success. And also they want to be part of your business success. So that's what I would always say, like something which is a very important layer, very important element is you need to become a really exceptional leader.
Yeah, and it's not something that you can do overnight. It doesn't always come naturally for people. It can be quite challenging to learn, and especially if you come from being an employee for someone else
Yeah.
and you become the boss, and all of a sudden there's that old school thought of, well, this is how I was told to do it, and this is how, it's how I
Yeah.
was treated, and that's how I'm going to treat them.
Yeah, it's like mirroring and copying, like what you knew or what you taught before, but that doesn't mean that's the right way to do it. And when like when we start our business, like we actually need to put a lot of learning into first, like learn a lot about ourselves, or about our personality, our weaknesses, and our strength. And then also strategically, like learn about management and leadership because it's very important. And sometimes it can happen, like as a business owner you are really not good with communication and managing team, and sometimes you need to choose someone else who will do that for you. And that's absolutely okay as long as you are aware of, and then you replace that part of the business with someone else. It's absolutely fine. It's far, far better to find someone who is great with leadership, great with managing your team, than you trying and you just don't have that skill in you.
Yeah, that's right. And that brings us on to the next layer, which is this is the one that most people get excited about and want to know the most information about, and attracting your dream clients. And everyone thinks that they need to find more clients, and more clients necessarily isn't the right clients.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So when people come in to us to ask for help, and when we ask, like, what help do you need? I would say 90% of them, they say, I just need more clients and I will be fine. And we are always, reminding people, actually, you need to make sure that you know who is your niche. And that's a little bit of a work what you need to put into, to figure it out who you really want to attract to your business, and also how you're going to attract them to your business, because your business is definitely, like going to depend on, like your client flow. But like there is a difference between clients and clients, and this is when you really need to put into the work to basically figure it out, like who are my ideal clients, where are they, and how am I going to find them, and is my business ready right now to actually welcoming those clients? Because the thing is, like if you don't attract those clients in the right time into your business, then those clients will come and go, and then you're very, very rarely going to have a second chance. So this is when comes, like other layers needs to be definitely done before you start to thinking about, attracting those clients.
Yeah, and that statement brings us into the next layer, which is creating your outstanding client journey. And what that means, I think a lot of people don't realize that the journey is something that, you know, starts from the beginning when someone actually first thinks about needing your service, as opposed to when they first step in the door of the business.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is, we don't even know that we need a client journey when we start our businesses. Like it's really just a journey for ourselves. Like when we figure it out, it's actually a journey. Because yes, you are absolutely right. Like the client journey doesn't start when someone steps into your business, into your salon or studio. Your client journey actually starts when someone in your area is thinking about, like wanting to have a service what your business is providing. And what they're going to do, like they're going to do a little bit of a Google research, this and that, and then probably they will call or they will send you an SMS or they will contact you somehow. And that's the first contact point. So then you need to really, like, there are so many different points what you need to map out in this client journey, and you need to get it right. Because that's one thing. And we know how expensive it is to attract new clients into the business. So you're going to have a client journey for new clients, and you want to make sure once they are in the door, you're going to provide an outstanding service and you have an idea how you're going to invite them back at least 3 times so they become your regular clients. And then also you need to think about another level of a client journey for all those clients who are already your regular loyal clients, because many times what happens, we do all these discounted services specials for new clients, and then we forgot about our regular clients. So we need to figure it out, like what kind of client journey we're going to provide for those clients who are with us for years after years.
Yeah, look, the client journey is really important, and I always say the journey doesn't finish until you put it down. It's like the never-ending story with that one.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
so this one is probably the final layer that we always get people to have a look at, and as we were saying in the beginning of the show, that it's usually the one that everyone puts first is the brand
Yes,
awareness.
creating a brand awareness. Yeah. And it's costing a lot of money to creating a great brand awareness. And as I mentioned before, like you can create the best brand awareness and you can start to, attract clients to your business. But if you don't attract the right clients and if you don't have, like a strategy behind it, then all those money what you are spending on Instagram and Facebook posts and Facebook advertisement, it's just basically, like wasting your money. And I think, like Jody, you have much, much more knowledge about, Facebook ads and Instagram ads, but I have, because you are the one who is looking after, like the back end for our business. So just feel free to add anything to this, what you think, like it's important for our audience.
Yeah, look, it's when it comes into everything changes so quickly, and trends are changing, and the way people are looking for businesses have changed, and a lot of people put a focus on to getting a larger following, but the larger following isn't always necessarily what is important, and we'll talk about that in some of our other podcasts. But a thing to remember is, if you're trying to attract clients and you want to use social media to do it, is that the people that you're engaging with and you're getting to like and follow need to be the people that you're wanting to invite to your business. So it takes a lot of strategy, and it's not something that you can easily just pass off to someone else.
Yeah, yeah, and like just the right order, because it does takes a lot of money to do all those advertisement, to attracting those clients into your business. You need to create that money first, and you need to create other layers first. And once everything works, like once like your numbers, your pricing is right, like your team works in harmony, you have your client journey, this is really when you want to, like, all right, let's invite those clients who are our right clients into the business right now because we are ready for them.
Yeah, exactly. And, everything has its place and there's all those elements are needed. It's just a matter of having it in the right formula and doing the right thing at the right time. Look, if you want to get started, there's the link on the screen to our quiz that we have on our website at focusgdt.com, and that's the business owner persona quiz. And you can take that quiz, and based on the answers that you give in the quiz, you'll receive a customized personal report that Adriana has put together, and it will show you. It'll go into your strengths and weaknesses, and what the next step is, so that you can begin working on the areas that you.
If you have 60 seconds, go through this quiz because then you're going to learn about yourself quite a lot. And it's always good to learn about ourselves. And as I mentioned to you, like leadership starts with learning about ourselves. So this is something what could be very helpful for you. And also, if you feel like, just go to our website, www.focusgdt.com. There are lots of resources and free resources are there for you. And also we have our event calendar over there, so you can get a little bit more information about our upcoming events and master classes also.
You can follow us on our Instagram and Facebook, and once you take the quiz, there's a link there for you to join our private Facebook group. So we'd love to have you in there if you want to come in and get some additional info and get to know us a bit better. And the handle is at FocusGDT for both Insta and Facebook.
Absolutely. And I think this brings us to the end of this episode, and
It
we
does.
are looking forward to the next episode.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week at Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Sydney time.
Bye for now. Bye, guys.